Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the country. Please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps with visibility and it really helps with the algorithm, and I would greatly appreciate it. And also, if you like this video, please definitely subscribe. We are building an amazing community where we have awesome discussions, we get into some fights, and we also just ultimately have fun. But without further ado, let's get to it. Right now, we're with The Herd with Colin Cowherd talking about Joe Flacco and the Browns.
For the first time in years, there's no pressure on a Cleveland Browns quarterback. And this is what it looks like with this roster. Fun, competitive, collaborative, grown-ups, all in one direction. Cleveland's had a very good roster for years, but Baker came in, he was young, chutzpah, cocky, little immature. And then Deshaun Watson enters. Weird baggage. Coaching carousel. Today, Cleveland, great young GM Andrew Berry, great young offensive coach, and that matters, Kevin Stefanski, excellent players, and an adult at quarterback with no baggage. This is what it looks like. And Stefanski's doing it. They're missing linemen, a running back, Amari Cooper, fourth quarterback. This guy, Stefanski and Flacco, it works. And this offense is undeniably better with Joe Flacco starting than Deshaun Watson. Sorry if it hurts your feelings.
So the thing that I want to kind of interject right away and say is I think what Joe Flacco and the Browns is doing is awesome. And I think it's fun to watch. It's exciting to watch. And I think they can legitimately make some noise in the playoffs. The Browns obviously have a great defense. And with Joe Flacco as their QB, he's obviously showing to be pretty good. But I do want to, kind of step on the brakes slightly, because we weren't saying, we're saying this now because it was a pretty big win against the Jets. And I know we're saying the Jets aren't good, but the Jets have a good defense. And so therefore, if you score a lot of points against them, then therefore that means you're a good offense. But that's not just always necessarily the case. If you're on the Jets right now, your season's pretty much over. I haven't looked at their contract, so I don't know how many players are fighting just to stay on the roster or fighting to get a new contract. I'm not really sure. I haven't done that, deep dive into it, but this is near the end of the season. They know that their playoffs are not going to happen, so the defense is burned out. The defense is obviously going to compete, and they're not telling, I'm not telling you that they're, that they're tanking or whatnot or phoning it in, but it is a different level of effort and energy. They're not going balls to the wall, 100%, all in, let's go, do or die. They're just not, right? There's a difference in level of energy and effort. I mean, there's different levels of 100% effort, as funny as that sounds. It's just, are you putting 100% of effort? Where are you placing that effort to? And again, I just want to emphasize, I'm not saying that the Jets are phoning it in, but I understand that they have a really good defense, but at this point in the season, they know where they stand. They know what they're fighting for, and what they're fighting for is nothing, honestly. So if you are a really good player on the Jets, I think largely you're probably either, potentially fighting for more money, or you're just fighting for your own personal stats. I know no one likes to talk about this, but, let's say you're locked on a contract for the Jets. You're going to be back next season, right? You're going to be back next season. Your money's in, all of that. Honestly, what you're thinking is I just kind of want to get my stats. That as a player, that is what you are thinking. No question about that. You're just I want to stay healthy, and I want to get, and I want to get my numbers, that's really what you're doing. And that's a hard way to play. It's a different mentality going into it. So I don't want to take so much away from beating the Jets. And this is what we do. And this is what, Colin Cowherd does a lot, is if you beat the Jets, if it's a team that he doesn't like or a story that he doesn't like, and you beat the Jets, it's wow, congratulations, you beat the Jets. But if it's a story that he likes, he's this was a big win, 37-20, this and that, and it's well, wait a second, you can't just pick and choose when beating a team matters, especially when it's the same team. So I just want to do, pause the brakes on that one. But I do think what Joe Flacco shows is that if you are a mature quarterback and you get in the right spot with the right offensive mind, they can put you in a position to succeed. I think that's ultimately what that shows. Because when Flacco was with the Jets or, floating around, like, he was not in that situation. So when you're with an actual good offensive head coach like Stefanski is, I think a Joe Flacco can succeed because he's obviously a good player. Joe Flacco was obviously a good player. He led, he got a Super Bowl, he got his money. I mean, was he this like elite, unstoppable quarterback? No, but he also never had a true offensive-minded head coach. Harbaugh is not that. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. He's not that. So now you get to see him actually with an offensive-minded head coach, and maybe things can happen, which is why I think, and we're not going to talk about this right now, but Sean Payton deserves more blame for not making Russell Wilson work, because Russell Wilson should, in theory, be just as capable as an older Joe Flacco. I mean, he just should be. And so if Stefanski can win with Joe Flacco, then why can't Sean Payton win with Russell Wilson? That's just, I digress. So yeah, let's keep going.
But in 5 starts, just 5, Flacco's got 13 touchdown passes. Over 2 years, Deshaun Watson in 12 starts has won more than that. The offense is better with Flacco. Big arm, sees the field better, grown up, not weird, no baggage. Coach isn't the problem. Stefanski's never been the problem. The people criticizing him don't get it. And those who don't get it, don't get it. Stefanski's never been the problem. And it shouldn't be lost. Last night, Cleveland's on their 4th quarterback, missing several starters. Offense is rolling. The Jets on a backup with a defensive coach. Mess again.
Yeah, exactly.
Shouldn't be lost. It's happening all over the league. When you get a quarterback disruption, the offensive coaches can handle it. The defensive coaches and teams spiral. Of course, there's a controversy looming. It's the Cleveland Browns, after all. What do you do if Flacco gets them to the AFC Championship? What do you do? Well, thanks, Joe. It's been fun. The team loves him. The coaches clearly trust him. He's doing it without starters. What do you do?
So this is an interesting dilemma because this happened with the Eagles in 2017 with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, right? Carson Wentz goes down and Nick Foles wins a Super Bowl, gets the Super Bowl MVP. Just unbelievable story. Now, Nick Foles was incredibly humble and already failed with other teams in the past and was essentially retired, pretty much hung it up, but then got, convinced by Peterson to come back. And so he was more willing to say, okay, and he stayed as a backup quarterback and was like, all right, that's cool. And then Carson Wentz went down again, and then Nick Foles had success. He lost the one playoff game, but it was no fault of his own. He played amazing, and it's like a shame. He literally almost went on another, run, and it's a shame because I feel like we kind of got robbed of that experience. And the truth is that the Eagles would have been better off probably playing Nick Foles. Carson Wentz is a better quarterback and had a higher ceiling technically than Nick Foles. But Nick Foles, the personality fit better, locker room presence fit better, his skill set and the way how the Eagles' weapons were, that offense was originally constructed, all of that just fit better. Even though Carson Wentz on paper and just even on the film was a better player. That takes us over here now. We have Joe Flacco playing, and Watson has just not really been that great. And the truth is he hasn't been great for years because of his own doing, right? Because of him sitting out and then because of the sexual assault issues and all of that type of stuff. But we can put that aside. The truth is that if we're saying that the Browns are more successful with Joe Flacco, as hard as it seems, is like, well, then you stick with Joe Flacco. Like, you still got Deshaun Watson on the hook, okay? So make him your backup quarterback. Be like, like that's what you can do. And then if Joe Flacco kind of turns into a pumpkin, then you bench him and then you still got Watson, like that. I think that is what you do. And I think the fans will be behind it because the fans with the Philadelphia Eagles absolutely would have been behind keeping Nick Foles. I mean, when Carson Wentz went down again the second season and Foles came up, everybody was pumped up and was like, all right, let's go. We got Nick, like there's a statue of Nick Foles outside of the stadium. Everyone loved it. So if the Browns actually make some noise in the playoffs, yeah, the Browns are going to totally be on board. I promise you that.
What do you do with Watson and Flacco? I don't know, but here's what I do know.
I
In
just told
this
you.
moment in December, soon to be January, maybe playing until February, this is a viable AFC championship team with a young, really, really bright offensive coach, with an excellent roster again, and with a quarterback who's a grown-up with no baggage, having the time of his life. Cleveland's real grown-up at coach and quarterback. It's not a shot at Baker. He's a kid. Deshaun Watson, not my guy. But this is what Cleveland should be looking like. This is what this coach can deliver. This GM, this roster, these players, they're good. They're really good players all over it, even missing players. They're at a different level than many teams in the NFL. Tip of the cap to Flacco, and here's the coach after.
And what this team has showed time.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, again, what it shows is what happens when you have a mature grown-up at the quarterback position. Not a diva, not someone who's, thinks that they're God's gift to this earth, not someone that thinks that they're Superman, not someone that has dealing with off-field stuff, who's weird at the mic, who's quirky, who has all these issues. When you have someone who's just genuinely older, more mature, not doing interviews every 5 seconds like an Aaron Rodgers or anything like that. I think when you have enough competence at that position, and you're now teamed up with an actual legitimate offensive coach, and obviously now you have a good enough weapons around you, you can be really successful. That's where Brock Purdy is so successful, honestly, because he's a competent quarterback. He has obviously a great offensive coach, and obviously he has his weapons, but he's also not weird. He's not doing any of these weird things. He's not a diva. He's not, causing issues on or off the field. He's not yelling and barking at people because he doesn't feel like he's in a position to do that, right? Because he feels like he's pretty much just grateful to be there. But that is a huge recipe for success. It's just leaving your ego not even at the door, just a million miles away. And that's what Flacco is doing. And that's why the Browns are having this level of success. Imagine if, you had Aaron Rodgers there. If Aaron Rodgers was with that team, would they look the same? Would they have the same level of success? I'm not so sure, honestly. I think obviously Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback, without a doubt. That's like unquestionable. But Aaron Rodgers brings an energy. He brings this not, I don't want to say competitiveness, because competitiveness can be positive, but it's like this pettiness, right? It's pushing up against the coaches, kind of getting in fights with coaches and getting in fights with the media and being challenging, and then going on Pat McAfee and calling out the media. It just is drama. It just, issues and all this type of stuff. Joe Flacco has brought none of that. And it matters. It allows the locker room to flourish. It allows the locker room to have its own personality, right? If you're in the locker room with like an Aaron Rodgers, you follow his lead. You follow his personality, which can be good sometimes, especially when the leader really looks out for you. But when the leader is a little bit more selfish and cares more about them, then you don't, right? Then you get things like Devontae Adams saying, I'm getting out of Green Bay. I don't want to be here because I don't know what the heck's going on with Aaron Rodgers. And that's what happened. So I think Joe Flacco is a beautiful representation of what a team can look like when you have someone who is mature, who doesn't have baggage, and, kind of like what Colin is saying in that regard. But I would love to hear your thoughts with regards to this. Do you think this is just luck? This is just kind of lightning in the bottle. They ripped off a few wins and he's playing pretty good, but he's past his prime. Do you think the Browns can actually win in the playoffs? Do you think they can make it to the AFC Championship game or even get to the Super Bowl? I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And definitely please subscribe. We're having so much fun. I read all the comments. Over there, they don't read any of the comments. I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is amazing, let me know. If you think what I'm saying is the dumbest thing ever, also let me know. Either way, let's have some fun. Let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. And, please subscribe. We're building an awesome community, and I would love to see you there. Thank you so much, and see you next time.